Oh guys, Nibbler here, Athletics, and joining. I'm going to talk about safety. On this one, it's about controlling weights. When you go to gym, you hear so many people dropping weights, and it's due to one or two factors. One, it's just ego lifting. They've pumped up like fucking 20, 30, whatever many kilos of weights, and they think they're all blah blah blah, matching all that, and start slamming weights down because I think they're yeah, yeah, heavy lifting and another reason, they get fatigued pretty quickly because of the heavy lifting and they have no control, which is what this video is about. And because they got no control, they end up slamming weights on the floor. And we're going to be talking about that today, about controlling weights. You've heard, uh, I've done a video based on hypertrophy. Go and watch that. I can't remember if I mentioned eccentric contraction because that is the primary factor of how muscle gets torn. You've got your myofibrillar and your sarcoplasmic hypertrophies, if you remember them. And those are two hypertrophies. But a lot of people, they seem to neglect eccentric training, and it's a very important component. One, again, it's of course it helps develop hypertrophy a lot more than just pumping the iron, at a fast pace or tempo. Additionally, eccentric exercise can help with control of your weight. If you're lifting a heavy weight and you've got no control of it, you're just gonna slam it. And if you lose your grip, you're gonna slam the weight on the floor. And eccentric exercise is a fundamental component for training. So we're going to be discussing that today. So eccentric is basically the lengthening of a muscle. Where you got concentric, the muscles contract. Remember, muscles have, in the theory called a caterpillar theory, where they sort of crawl across each other, that makes sense. But what happens is that the myelin anchors on onto the actin and then it pulls it across to get that muscular contraction. That happens in the myofibrils. It's the foundation of muscles. Also, eccentric exercise is the opposite of shortening, so it's the lengthening. The same principles occurs. So you got the myosin anchors on onto the myosin anchors onto the actin and it pulls it across. So it goes both ways. You got isometric as well, where it just anchors on and then it doesn't move at all because there's no lengthening in the muscles in isometrics. But in isokinetics or dynamic muscle contraction, there's concentric and then there's eccentric. And we're going to be focusing on eccentric. So eccentric is going to be very important regardless what exercise you do, whether it's arms, legs, abs, back, neck. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's important that we control the eccentric on every muscle group. And it's also a very good component to help with your accessory movements as well. For example, when I raise up my arm, accessory movements is basically when, again, as I raise up my arm, this part goes up. So the distal part of my humerus rises, whereas the proximal part of my humerus, which would be more of the humeral head, it sinks down. So it kind of acts like a seesaw, if that makes sense. So when you come down, when you're raising up your elbow, the humeral head basis comes down. Let me go and get a skeleton and I'll show you. Okay, I've got my good old power skeleton here. It's a little bit deformed at the moment. Yep. So accessory movements. Basically, what that is, you got the humeral head right in the glenoid socket. I will speak eventually, people. Please bear with me. So, as the arm raises, you can see the humerus facing up. Yeah. at the elbow part, aka the humeral ulna. But at the same time, the humeral head, the rounded ball part there, as it comes up, that comes down. And in between the acromion and the head of the humerus, we've got the subacromial bursa. So when that comes down, it eases gap. When the humeral head comes down, it releases tension and pressure of the subacromial joint, subacromial bursa, and also the rotator cuff tendons. But that'll be another video if you want to learn some anatomy. So, what's that got to do with eccentric exercise? Quite a bit, because when you think about the deltoids here, you've got concentric. So if you're doing flies, for example, or lateral raises, bringing it up, the deltoids are shortened. However, when we're bringing it down, we've got eccentric contraction, so the lengthening, the stretching. And that is what we need to develop to get control of the weight. When we just keep doing that, yeah, it's developing some muscle hypertrophy. You see some like big dudes doing all that because what I say about load, so like overloading provides more hypertrophy. True, yeah. But it's not always in the safest method to do it in because it's just the way people do it, really. But again, they're doing that. There's no control over the weight. So when they're completely fatigued, they go, stand the weights down. And it damages the environment, it damages the weight, it damages equipment. It puts people off on doing their training. I hope you're with me so far. So I'm going to demonstrate a few exercises on how we can control eccentric contraction. Again, we need to develop that to help build muscle because it is a fundamental part for strength and power as well. Additionally, it will control the weight, so we're not going to slam it on the floor, destroying the whole damn place and messing up people's regime. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you a few exercises on eccentric contraction. I'm going to do biceps, do triceps, I'll do shoulders as well. At least we've got an arm done so we know how to control the eccentric phases. Right, if we start with biceps, what we're going to do, this is 13 kilos. Do reduce the weight if you have to, because when you fatigue, again, you're going to go, oh, you're going to drop it, you're going to slam it. Everything I mentioned before. So, lighten the load if you need to, just so you can just bring it up quickly and then slowly bring it down very slowly. And then again on this side, and then slowly down. The contraction, or the tempo specifically, 1 second up, so we've got 1 second concentric contraction, and then 2, 3 seconds eccentric contraction. Do it again on this side. Get 1 second, 1, 2, 3. Okay. You can do that with a dumbbell, you can do that with a barbell, you can do it with kettlebells, whatever equipment you got. Resistance bands, you can go and do it with them as well. So that is the way that you control eccentric contractions with your biceps when you're working it. Again, if you've got a barbell curl, if you're doing that, 1 second up, 1, 2, and 3. And then you repeat your reps and your sets for you're doing rest periods as well. Again, just control the eccentric phases. Right, we're going to the triceps next. Right, okay. So we've got the triceps here. Might not be able to do down one, just come down a bit. So we're going up here, resting it just slightly on the shoulders. And all you're going to do is push up. 1 second, 1, 2, 3. and you just rest it again on your shoulders again. Again, 1 second up. 1, 2, 3. Do it on the opposite side. So, come frame. So, 1 second up. 1, 2, 3. See that way a bit. You can see me a bit more. Okay. 1 second up. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1 second up. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Triceps eccentric control. That's how you do it. You rest the dumbbell on your shoulders. Press it up. 1 second. Bring it down. 2 seconds. Remember, triceps push. That is a concentric contraction for your triceps. The tricep attach from the scapula and the inferior part of the glenoid tubercle, coming all the way across onto the elbow pointing part, which is called the olecranon process, and that does the pushing or the full movements, things like that. So that's how we control the eccentric phase for the triceps. So let's go on to the big boy delts. Okay, people, so we're going to do the delts now, okay? Principles, again, are no different to your biceps and your triceps. 1 second up. 1, 2, 3 seconds down. Do it again. 1 second up. 1, 2, 3 seconds down. And you just repeat the same thing again on your opposite shoulder. So 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, and 3. Again, so all you're gonna do, raise up, sit there for just a split second, and 1, 2, 3 seconds down. And then you do the same thing again on the opposite shoulders. Okay, guys. Again, when you concentrically contract, you can do it for 1 second. If it's eccentric, do it for 3 seconds. Get that control because you will feel more fatigue as you go through it. Additionally, you develop control over the weights, so you're not going to start slamming it on the floor. Okay, I hope that helped. I hope that actually helped everyone because I think this is a discussion that needed to be said. I think it's arrogant and unprofessional. You know, you see all these people go to the gym, they think they're all that and everything. They lift up these weights and all of a sudden they're just like dropping it. It is because well, maybe it's ego, who's really, don't know really, but I think the primary factor is that they have no control. Because again, people only think about fast tempo and there's no control either concentric or eccentric. Because even concentric, you can lose your focus and then things can just go away. Well, I mean, imagine yourself smacking yourself in the face with a kettlebell or a dumbbell when you're doing a simple bicep curl. There's no control. And I think people need to start learning control over weights rather than just lifting weights just because you can just lift them. I mean, if you want to do that, you know, that's on you really. That can potentially cause high risk of injuries. And I'm not talking about self-inflicted myofibrillar tears or sarcoplasmic tears for hypertrophy. I'm talking about, you know, no control, you've got no proprioceptive feedback. And what's happening, you're sort of going over, and then your joints out of place, and you start causing tears in your tendons and ligaments and so on and so forth. So, yes, I know I've been going on a bit of rant now, guys. It is something that I am passionate about because I do care about people's safety and well-being. It's very extremely rare that you probably see any gym staff confronting people about lifting weights or anything. Me and my brother went to the gym in the college once, and there were these 3, 4 kids, I can't remember how many, that were trying to, I think they was trying to deadlift. And we've heard all this crashing and everything, and the way I seen it and heard it, is that they've had no control over the weights. They've had no control because it was too heavy for them. Their form was off. What I mean by that is like they've had bad posture, so the back wasn't straight, which is a fundamental component. I will do a video on hip hinging because I think that's another important thing that people need to understand to help do exercising more safely. Additionally, his feet was probably not squared together. What I mean by that is like his feet are probably like one's more further out, one's probably inverted, while the other's exverted, everted, sorry, not exverted, everted. And because of those things added together, there was no stability, and therefore he crashed. And all of those things together as well causes a lack of control. And I think I better just turn that down just slightly. But yeah, guys, yeah, that's what happened to him. And one of the staff member told him to leave because there was basically been stupid with weights. When you're lifting weights, you gotta have control, and you really gotta respect weights, because one injury could lead to hospitalization potentially. And when you look on these TikToks and YouTubes and other social media people, you know, just lifting and all that, you know, the backs are like more arched than fucking alphabet people's rainbow. It's basically asking your spine to snap in half, cause him potentially permanent paralysis right below. Remember, let me get the skeleton again because I think this is important. On the skeleton here, you can see a little red bulge there. That red bulge indicates that it's a potential risk of disc herniation. When that disc herniates, look at that nerve root there. That is the L5, 4, 3. So that'll be 5, 4. That would be the L3 nerve root right there. And that nerve root gets impinged because that nerve root runs down into the acetabular foramen, making the last common injury in the lower legs when you have disc herniation, sciatica. And you end up getting sciatica impingement just because of that disc herniation. And when you can't control pushing the weight up, you arching your back, that's what's going to happen. Like that lumbar disc herniation, and that's what's going to happen. Again, I'm very sorry about that, people. But I hope this video has helped people. It needed to be said. Yeah, this video is going to be about safety, training safe, but I'll also throw in, you know, some like exercise, how you can like do things safely, and what I recommend, like scientifically based research, and from anecdotal evidence as well, from me personally, and things like that. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please share this video. Do leave a comment below if you want me to do anything. If you've got thoughts of your own, feel free to comment down below. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Chang.